Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of episode 1 of the Character Developmental series. If you are unaware of what this is, it's basically we talk in depth about where our RPG characters come from and how they help us, and basically look at it at a more deeper level. And we view characters as more than just a randomly generated character that we've just created. We view them as a form of a part of us, essentially, a sub-personality. If you haven't seen part 1 will be in the description and in the playlist that we have created for this series. So yes, this is going to be Heather, my wife, talking about her other 2 characters that she identifies with her being her sub-personalities. We have Finnick, the black feline, and we also have Magpie, the university student. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. So, who is Finnick?
The mutant cat who stemmed from nowhere, really, didn't he?
My personal favourite, might I add.
Probably because it was your game. The first time I had a go at Dean's formulated RPG game, I made this cat muted character that was part Shinigami, I believe. Did we have a...
He was part of a lot of things, but this is before I've introduced a racial upgrading system. He was already a black cat, and then at 3rd level he became part of Shinigami.
Oh, right, okay.
It was around that time he actually discovered more about himself around 3rd level.
Yeah. Okay, so Finnick's story is linked below, as it was in the previous video as well. And Dean tells the full story of what happened with that. I had no idea how this was going to work, because when playing D&D, I just knew that, character has a backstory and they kind of had some life before this game. I mean, I was used to the concept of just coming up with a backstory.
Please see Kado's story and his backstory.
Which became a novel. Finnick was brand new. All I knew was his name pretty much from the moment I started playing him, and I was like, okay, how the hell? I think when I was creating him, I was going for a ninja cat sort of thing, wasn't I? And, was and
a bit of a druggie as well. That was another...
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I think Fiddleflesh offered him catnip, and then I was like, all right, and he's going to be a substance abuser.
Just decided there and then.
Yeah, he just ended up really enjoying the catnip, and he was kind of an introverted soul to begin with. He was very sensitive and very, very present and very much aware of his situation, but not so much aware why. He has a lot of deep-seated questions of his purpose in this life, and he looks to his creator, Dr. Fiddleflesh, for answers, and he doesn't seem to be getting answers at the depth that he wants. He's allowed to go and roam the deserts and collect samples, although he spends a lot more time doing more personal exploration than he does collecting samples, and meets a girl and a whole village of people who seem really fun, seem like where he's meant to be. He feels really drawn to this village and keeps wanting to go back there, but his doctor is telling him, don't go and don't trust any humans, or don't trust anyone out there. And he's just like, why? That's when he has this conflict with the doctor. This is when he becomes a real rebel, and he challenges the doctor on his beliefs. He's kind of cool-headed, he doesn't go in all guns blazing like Kado. He stands up and challenges, but he talks his way out of things rather than going straight to violence. In fact, he hates violence as a result of a disagreement. The Doctor just he's a mutant as well, isn't he?
He's a scientist he's pretty much 90% cyborg. He's got robotic tendrils that burst out of his sleeve, and he's got a giant robotic arm which has like guns and what sits all over his arm. Just he's not to be messed with.
So Finnick provokes him with challenging his beliefs, and as a result Finnick gets a beating. And I believe, to quote the story that I rewrote of this campaign, Finnick's just like, so that's how it's going to be, huh? Just resort to violence whenever I step out of line. And that's how Finnick challenges the Doctor, and they have this like disagreement. He wanted to go out and explore the world and really embrace his existence, and then he gets his electrical powers, doesn't he? He gets his bike, this amazing machine that's summoned by lightning, called Thunderclutch. I think he's the most developed character I've ever played. So by developed, I mean Finnick has experienced it all. His life is literally a struggle. He's very spiritual as well. He also goes through like a bit of a boho phase as well, where he just kind of like, appreciates life, obviously with his near-death experiences. He's very creative as well, like he does have musical talents. That's who Finnick is, pretty much. He's really fun-loving. He's a real flirt, but a hopeless romantic at heart. He's loyal to his girl, and everyone else is just, he's eye candy for them.
So, what does Finnick look like?
Well, he has two forms. He has the feline form, which he started off with, and then a little bit further down the story he gets the ability to change into a human.
He also gets the ability to turn into like a Reaper form as well, so you might want to bring something up like that.
He has various forms. His overall mutant form is black cat, humanoid. When I was creating him, I was thinking Rum Tum Tugger from Cats. Well, our friend Connor, who's an amazing artist, drew an absolute spot-on impression of what he looks like. And he's got like electric blue eyes, cat eyes obviously. He tends to wear like biker, like rocker sort of style. He looks pretty badass, you wouldn't want to mess with him. In his human form, he looks a bit like Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, only a lot younger, a lot fresher. In his badass don't mess with me Reaper mode, face kind of takes on like the skull of a cat, eyes glow. Yeah, that's pretty much his appearance overall. Oh, and Finnick as well, like in case you're wondering, he is pretty much an identical twin. When they're in human form, it's hard to tell who's who. They just wear their hair slightly differently, don't they?
And also with, in terms of Finnick as well, Finnick goes, in his cat form anyways, he takes on a more robotic side, he takes a more cyborg side, so whereas Finnick is electric blue cat form with raven wings, Finnick is turning into a train, or he has giant gun arms that he reveals. So yeah, he's pretty much, I would say opposite. There is like an opposite there.
Opposite but attracted. So.
Exactly. Right, thank you very much. So, where does Finnick come from and what does he represent?
So, I'll start with what he represents. Whereas Kado was the anti-hero, Finnick is the hero. Because he's packed with this god, he's not allowed to kill without good reason. So, he has to try everything possible. So, all his abilities are around sort of talking people out of violence, talking people out of suffering and out of harm. So, he represents the hero in that respect. That comes from, the part of me that's probably researched a lot of Buddhism and, pagan beliefs, a lot of Native American things. I guess that comes from, like, the side of me that wanted to be a therapist as well, to help by imparting wisdom.
It's kind of like an irony there of being just under a month old, but yet partaking in wisdom, bestowing wisdom.
Oh, he's very wise. These mutants, they develop quickly. Well, I don't know what else could have possibly been thrown at him in the short time of his campaign. He's a wise guy. He also, more above anything, represents feminine energy in a masculine form. I suppose represents the fact that just because you're in a male form doesn't mean that you can't be sensitive or have all of these wonderful feminine energies that come with the feminine balance. Sort of dealing with tough situations that you have to think about strategically and logically, because something Finnick gained more towards the end of the campaign was intelligence, logical, and able to fiddle with machinery, turn it against the enemy and Finnick them up, basically. He's the brains. But if you know the story, Finnick comes in two parts. His other half, Finite, represents the reckless side that was before him, like the side that just
snapped every so often and just
yeah,
argued.
like the teenage angst. He was able to keep under surface most of the time, but when it come down, I suppose it's like a Kado within him, like it was his Kado.
The thing is, I think the smarts went into Finnick though, didn't it?
Yeah, that was
Finite,
that was where I was going with that. Because Finite, although he's basically like a war machine, isn't he? Like, he's an absolute tank. He's a really good fighter.
And a train.
Yeah, he has this insane ability where he can turn into a locomotive. Also represents the concept of having a twin flame and being able to have a bond with another part of your soul. If anyone's familiar with the twin flame concept, that's what Finnick represents for me. The idea that your soul is, you're just half of a soul and the other half is out there somewhere, and when you meet your twin flame, that's like it's an amazing relationship if you know how to work it. And that's what happens with Finnick and Finite when they realise that they're one soul. It's like brotherly love for life, and there's no tearing them apart. No matter how many times Finite gets kidnapped and taken away, there is no competing with brotherly love.
I wish I could relate to that, to be honest. Sorry, Aaron. How does Finnick help?
Probably every decision or everything I do comes from Finnick, because he's such a jack of all trades. Like his energy spreads around into my other characters as well. He's such an influence on everything. I guess he's like my superego, like my moral judge of things. It reminds me to think about things logically, and also to think about doing things in a way that's beneficial to not just yourself, but how it's going to benefit everyone in the end. He reminds me to keep the peace, man. Have love at heart. He definitely represents love, so he helps me express love. Remember to accept people for who they are and have patience with them, and remain open-minded to all views. He's more about the fun, so he reminds me to lighten up at times when it's appropriate to lighten up, but he also reminds me to think deeply. He's like the perfect blend of logic and love. He's definitely behind a lot of my creativity, particularly with music and writing. That connection with expressing myself through writing. So Hazel's like the part of me that wants to express but doesn't know how, and then Finnick comes along and is like, okay, we'll just take it easy, go for a walk, we'll have a brainstorm, and then Finnick writes it down. I make something creative, like a song or a novel or a poem or something like that, and he will express that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for Finnick.
Yes, thank you for Finnick.
You're very welcome. I remember when I first asked you to make a mutant, you were really umming and ahhing, going, I don't know. Not only is there loads and loads of choices, but
over 400 choices.
Yeah, exactly, over 600.
Okay.
And you were like, I just don't know what to choose. I don't know, and I can't have a backstory, so I'm struggling there. I'm just going to be born. What the hell, I can't write a novel on this. And next thing you know, he's like one of your biggest and most inspiring characters. And like I said, Flesh and Blood was one of my all-time favourite campaigns I've ever ran because of the characters that you, Stephen, and Dan had chosen, Orvis and Brightbeak and Finnick.
Yeah, and they had their own amazing bonds between each other as well, wasn't it? And I think Finnick was probably a favourite for everybody's behalf, and it was just like everyone. And he's like, whenever he narrowly escaped death, everybody wanted to save him. Like they didn't want to, like, no, we can't lose Finnick. No.
He's already died twice. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and he was like, and I was terrified of losing Finnick. I was just like, you know.
Just for those who are thinking about game mechanic wise and why Finnick had not been permanently dead, not only was I completely in love with Finnick and the character, but it was being a Reaper of the Afterlife kind of gives you a few perks, which is basically 3 deaths and you're out sort of thing. So Finnick was able to come back twice. He's only got 1 life left, which he is living to the very best, if you will, with it. Yeah, he's living with the very best.
And he's achieved so much, even if he was to pass on.
Exactly.
And even then, it probably won't be the end of it.
Yeah,
no. In the afterlife.
He certainly does. He certainly does. Well, thank you very much, Hough. And we're now on to... Who is Magpie?
Magpie is a academy student in your university themed campaign that we're doing at the moment. She's only very recent that she's come out. I'm just still getting to know her, like just before, like just December or something like that, a couple of months ago. So there's obviously a lot more to develop from her still, but from what I know of her so far, she's very much John Bender from The Breakfast Club. She's very extroverted, very opinionated, and very straight up. Like, you think it, she says it. She also, a bit like Joey Tribbiani from Friends, if she sees someone she wants, more than likely, within a very short period of time, gonna have them. Like, she's got none of the charisma is the right way.
A lust. I would say a lust.
Yeah, she's definitely got she's got a way with the guys. She kind of likes to freak people out as well. Like, one of the first things she said when she was born was something a bit flirtatious that would freak her. I would not call it flirtatious. It was very straightforward. Well, either way, it had the desired result, which was kind of freaking out this science guy that she's only just met, that turned out to be her creator. I think she's going to be another favourite. I think she's enthusiastic about,
I would say she's very enthusiastic about like her own gains and her own hobbies and her own personal interests, but when it comes to the actual academy work, she can get quite bored of it, but unless it really interests her, she doesn't really care.
She's more like the social one, like she's more into like partying and, building her allies and...
The embodiment of freshers, if you will.
Yeah, she kind of like... Her house is a party house for a start, and a skate park all in one. Very much teenagehood summed up, boyish teenagehood. Like, she likes to smoke and drink and have fun, really. She's more about that. She's more about that than like actual work. She would she's all kind of hard face and badass on the outside. Like, physical strength and fitness is very important to her. She likes to be big and strong so she can protect her friends. This thing happened, I'm not going to go into because it'll be spoilers. Yeah, where she responded not like a rebellious badass. This event just kind of like freaked her out. I will admit it was traumatic. She just like ran off to tell the professors and was just like, oh my god, you got to sort out these psychopaths. She is like she does have like a compassionate heart, like she is caring, so that's like her feminine traits. The rest of her is all masculine.
Okay, so what does Magpie actually look like? Could you go into a bit more depth? Is there a celebrity or an actor or someone that she might represent?
Juno, from Juno, obviously. And she's very much like her in her mannerisms, and it reminds me as well when I remember being an absolute massive fan of that film when it came out, because I just loved how different Juno was as a character, and she was just so like carefree and bold, and just, she just took the challenge so well in the film, and she just kind of like got on with it and said what she needed to say, and like the way she talks to her friends and everything about Juno, probably similar to Magpie, the way she comes across. She's like the extrovert I want to be.
You said as well she looked like Shane?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably like similar like height and build to Shane from the L Word. And I guess they definitely have the same attitude as well. Yeah, very similar in looks, except Magpie's got long hair, sort of big hair on top, and you know the feathers are in with like a mohawk style. Well, she's got like wavy, shaggy. I think that's what it is. She's got like a shaggy haircut and
shaggy haircut, shaggy personality.
Yeah, she's quite grungy. That's a really good way to look at it. Your impression of her was probably the closest so far that we've got.
I'll try better next time then. Okay, so where does Magpie come from, and what does she represent?
She comes from my teenagehood, I guess. So when I was like, 15, 16, and I had a band, and just started going back to karate as well. So like reconnecting with a lot of my childhood tomboy hobbies. Like, if anyone who knows me will just know that I'm a tomboy through and through. There's absolutely nothing girly about me at all, and probably why I play like a lot of male characters in general. But she's the embodiment of masculine energy within the female form, whereas like Finnick was the masculine form with feminine energy. It's important to have that sort of thing. So it's just because you've got a feminine form doesn't mean to say that everything's going to be stereotypically female about you. Like, it just shows like we're all different. We've all got different balances of masculine and feminine energy, and we choose to express these in different ways. Magpie expresses how I express my masculine energy. I think that she'd probably be into skating and like hanging out at skate park like I used to do. I didn't used to smoke when I was a kid. I'm just gonna point that out. Like, she's like an extroverted version. I would think about it and probably question it a lot, but she just does it. So she's like the free spirit. She started to get like quite obsessive actually. So I'd say it comes, and I can have obsessive parts of me. So I guess that she represents that as well.
So, final question: how does Magpie help you?
Magpie gives me a voice. Generally, in unfamiliar company, I'm quite withdrawn and hesitant to speak, depending on with whom I'm speaking. With other introverts, I'm more confident. However, some extroverted people can be rather overwhelming for me to approach. With Hazel being my natural default persona, this tends to hold me back until I sense that the individual is okay, and I will then find the right time to input. In some instances, though, this has not been so helpful. I remember a time during my therapist training wherein I happened to be sharing with a friend on that course that I just didn't feel like I was being heard. So my friend, knowing me quite well and what I did in my spare time, told me to use my karate voice. One particular time during a class discussion, I noticed my friend was encouraging me with eye contact to speak up, as she noticed me anxiously awaiting the right time to open my mouth. This is when, for the first time, I just suddenly projected my voice at the initial sign of natural silence within conversation, and I was actually able to deliver my point. This, I believe, even back then, was Magpie, breaking through to help me grow in confidence and my communication development. Magpie is also my systematic masculine energy. In the previous video, I spoke of Kato being my chaotic masculine energy. He was all about expression of anger, losing control, and mental conflict. He also has this strong determination and drive that he can often lose sight of caution and logic in his tenacity of reaching his goal. Magpie, on the other hand, is a more collected version of masculine energy. Her element is air, unlike Kato's fire, so she will be a lot more in control of her aggression and fight. Her attitude in general is much more breezy and relaxed. Magpie doesn't look for fights. Like a true martial artist, she just aims to finish them. So Magpie allows me to turn to a physical exercise as a healthy way of focusing that energy. Between Kato and herself, I always feel that incredible sense of release when I'm doing like a high impact workout or pushing myself to the limits when I'm out or running. Magpie knows to hit the impact shield, whereas Kato's instinct would be just to hit whoever was pissing him off. So I guess Magpie restores that systemic balance of masculine energy by allowing me to unleash that expression through physical training and those more stereotypical male traits of who I am. Since I was a kid and enjoyed being like one of the boys, Magpie keeps that alive within me, and the relationship she forms with her male companions in our RPG sessions just reminds me of the amazing close male friendships I consistently found myself in throughout my childhood, teenhood, and beyond. Although as a character, Magpie enjoys male company for other reasons, deep down I guess she just wants to be friends and having fun hanging around with the guys, just doing what guys do, and that is the part of me which allowed me to just relax and chill out all those years ago, as well as influencing today's experiences. As a character, Magpie wants to be everyone's friend and their bodyguard. She feels that it's her duty to protect her gang, and I feel that she has allowed me to come out of my shell in the past in situations where I may have needed to back up my own friends. She is most certainly the protection instinct within me. So just to conclude, I feel the biggest impact of Magpie and the ways she will continue to help me progress the most is definitely by giving me that verbal confidence boost and allowing me to speak my mind in a means that is loud and clear. That is the key, which is released in a union of built-up pressure used in the art of karate or other physical exercise. That verbal expression of mine, which comes out sounding like Kato's wild scream in training, is actually the voice of Magpie, allowing me to speak my truth when in more social situations. This is what my friend was meaning when she said, "Use your karate voice."
Right, thank you very much, my love. Yes, I believe that's everything we need to know about Finnick and Magpie. So, you've heard of all of Heather's sub-personalities, Kato, Hazel, Finnick and Magpie. Next up will be mine, and that's still in production at the moment, we're still sorting that out. But what's next for this series? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're thinking about maybe getting other people to do this with us, to see if they share similar bonds, but what we'd really appreciate is comments, maybe telling us who your favourite characters are. We've all got that one character that we just don't want to die because we feel a too close personal connection with them, and it could be just as well a sub-personality, just like Heather's characters that she's mentioned before. So yes, please do let us know what you think. We would like to continue doing this. We would like to explore this topic a bit more because we've noticed it's not really explored or talked about on YouTube or anywhere. So yes, we look forward to hearing from you guys. Please stay tuned for more exciting videos such as this, and see you later. Goodbye.